Various look in practice yesterday. Was it difficult for him to get through the session?
No, he looked good. He looked good. Oh, he didn't. No, he just, there's some soreness, and so we're just, being smart. They decided to hold him out.
Bernardo Green's state of readiness in case he needs to play more this week?
He's looked great. I mean, he continually gets better, so we got total confidence in Bernardo. He's very competitive. He's always wanting to learn. He is learning. Just feel great about him.
On the Naylor touchdown that went to the corner, it seemed to be a bust. Both guys jumped the flat. Why was there such confusion on that play?
Yeah, those ones are tough. They sell it really good. We just got to be disciplined, with our eyes and execution.
Talanoa Fungus coming back. What are you getting back with him? Just his personality and everything coming back to the field?
Yeah, he's a all-pro player. He's someone with a lot of experience. He's got great energy. He's a great communicator. He flies around the field. He makes plays. So you get a complete player, and I think he's really excited too.
Players get in that feel isolated when they are coming back. I know he's generally a positive person. How has he been through this journey back?
He's been great. I mean, as he started to ramp up and get into practice, I think he's just been more connected. Like you say, you can feel disconnected, but he makes sure that he's right there. He's, in walkthrough, he'll shadow whoever's in when, so he's getting himself those actual reps, and making sure that you hear him on the side, like making all the calls that he would be making as if he was actually in the game. That's really what you want everyone to do. If you're not getting the rep, you should get a mental rep. And, he was fully in it. If you can do that, you basically steal reps when you're not actually out there. Obviously you need the physical reps, but when you can mentally make those calls, put yourself in the play at that time, you are getting better and you are putting yourself into those plays and you're reacting as it's happening rather than just maybe seeing it on tape. It's just different when you're out there and it's not expected, and he did a good job of that, so he was totally preparing himself to be ready.
It's just only been a couple of games, obviously, but third down, you guys have struggled to get off the field,
Yeah.
particularly third and long. What are you seeing there? Why are things struggling?
I think, it's in any time you're not having success, it's you first look at yourself. I know our players do. I know I do. All of our coaches do. So, me personally, I'm like, what can I do better? And then it's always a combination of things. Is it plan? Is it execution? And we just got to be tighter, bottom line, in all of it.
You say you're evaluating yourself. What do you mean?
Just every part of it. I think all of this is, I think you always do. I think every coach does. I think I did that when no matter what position I've been in as a coach, as a player, I always felt like if something didn't go right, what could I have done different this week? Or what could I have given different looks, or, do we need a different tweak to this call? So it's, oh, no, this just happened because of that. And so you want to be true to what you're doing in preparation, but I think you should always have a growth mindset and, try and be better. We obviously want to perform better, so you always have to fix something that isn't exactly how you want it.
Mental reps that you talked about manifested themselves this week when he's full go for the first time on practice?
Yeah, he has. It's like he hasn't missed a beat, and like I said, he was getting some of those look team reps too, and anytime if you're not getting our actual reps with the defense and you're kind of on that look team, you try and do the same thing as you're going through them. What part of this can translate to how we play defense? Well, a lot of it can. There might be some different coverages or something like that may be different, but if you translate that to what you're doing, and that goes for any practice squad player, like you're trying to steal reps and prepare yourself for the chance to play, because it is a long season and a lot of guys end up playing.
It's been discussed many times over the years, but with 2 games in Fred Warner's performances, how has he just reiterated and solidified that he's the MVP on the defense?
I mean, I said it a few weeks ago. I mean, he's the best linebacker in the game. I mean, he is who he is. I think he's been that for a while. I think when I first got here, it was like, golly, this guy's unbelievable. And it's, he just keeps proving it over and over.
Your defensive front about what opportunities they might have Sunday against a Rams front that's obviously going through a lot the last couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, they want to attack. They always, D linemen want to get after the quarterback. So I think first and foremost, as always, we got to earn that right, and that's with being good on first and second down, whether it's run game or how Stafford operates because he's one of the best that's ever done it. The running back is utmost respect for how he runs. Williams is, he had a heck of a year last year. I know you could sit there and look at his numbers, but this guy from this year and think, no, he's not. No, this guy's legit. We have a ton of respect in how we studied him last year and how he ran. He's very tough. He's got great visions. He's got the ability to have patience, and I feel and hit a hole with burst or bounce it and cut it back. But I feel like I've never seen him get knocked backwards. He's always falling forward just because he's got just good body balance and just contact balance too, and vision to go along with it. So to get to that portion of it for the D lineman, you got to be good on first and second down. And
Out of your interior linemen?
oh yeah, I feel great about our group. Yeah.
The signature play of this game was probably the Jefferson touchdown, and it appeared he was lined up against Odom. Is that the matchup that you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, it was in those situations, they made a great play. He made a great throw and catch, and obviously you want to execute better, and you always look at yourself, like I said, how can we be better in those situations? That goes for myself, the players, everybody. So it's just they made a heck of a play. It was a really good throw, really good catch and finish.
Halftime, there was a 3rd and 13. I think Naylor comes across the motion. You guys were in zone, and your nickel bumps out to the outside. Follow Naylor, left Jefferson in the slot against Warner. I think it was a 16-yard gain. Is that the way that's supposed to be played in that situation?
Yeah, there was, without getting too deep, we just didn't execute it the exact right way, and some of it wasn't perfect. And again, like I said, it goes to all of us preparing the players, and taking ownership of that, and just as a group, we all know we want to be better.
Foerster was talking about, he had 2 great back-to-back plays against Arizona. They had the sack, and then they knocked him down on a screen. And he said, that gave me a lot of confidence. I think a lot of people would think Nick Bosa always has confidence. But I don't know, is that something, you've been around a lot of great players as a coach and a player. Is this something, I don't know, a lot of great players have, just that they're always, not that they're always struggling with confidence or anything, but they're never satisfied. They always feel like I've got to be better.
Yeah, especially, your expectations, just like you guys are asking me about 3rd down and stuff. I think it's always you, as an athlete, you want to be perfect. You know that it's probably never going to be, but you want it to be. So, and especially people, when they're really great players like Bosa, all the greats that have ever played in any sport, you do want to be the best, and you want to be great on every play. So are you maybe disappointed on certain moments? Yes. And then can you get those boosts of confidence like Nick's talking about? Absolutely. I mean, we're human. He's going to keep going. He's going to keep plugging and, stay great. But, yeah, of course, we're always going to have those, emotional boosts of confidence when you make a play. That's why guys get so excited, and really that matriculates to anyone. Even if you didn't make the play, that helps your team out too, or your teammates. Thanks, guys.
Yesterday about how different the preparation is without Aaron Donald on the Rams. Who becomes your focal point on that Rams defensive front now?
I think they've got a good front regardless. 91 is kind of the heir apparent if there is a guy that kind of assumes that position. But he's a good player, really a guy that wreaked a lot of havoc last year and is doing the same this year. It's you can't put anybody in Aaron Donald's. There just isn't that focal point. I mean, it isn't the same. It's you're playing a good defense. They've got a lot of good rushers. Their 2 edge guys are probably the best rushers. The 91's a good rusher. They got 3 very good rushers. 97's a good rusher. They do a good job with their front 5 guys that rush the passer, and again, their second level players are good as well. But when people ask me about voting for Hall of Fame players, right? They say I've got a couple guys I know, and they say, here's the list of this year's candidates. Who would you put on? I say, if you have to make a game plan around a guy, he's probably Hall of Fame worthy. If you don't, he's probably a really good player. And he might get in the Hall of Fame and deserving it so. But I'm saying when you talk about a guy that's like, you have to game plan. That's what Aaron Donald was. I mean, the whole game plan. It feels like we're not even getting ready to play the Rams this week because it's just been so much emphasis is put on him all this time. So there really isn't a guy to replace him. When he's gone, you just have to make sure that, you have to take care of your business, but it's a little more balanced of an approach.
Last week, they made it to Purdy a few times in Minnesota. What have you, from your point of view, what did you see going wrong last week, and how did you guys kind of focus on adjustments this week?
About how much they killed our quarterback, is that what the question is? No, there were too many pressures. Anytime, and this is, believe me, You guys know we've got to do a better job. I say that whether we win or lose, we've got to do a better job up front. Anytime there's that many sacks in a game, usually there's a lot to go around. The passing game starts and ends with obviously the offensive line has to do their part. Running backs and tight ends have to do their part. It's just as much a product of the pass game where are we at the running the right routes to the right depths? Is the quarterback able to make the right reads? Is he making the right reads? Is he throwing the ball in time? If he doesn't do those things, if the ball isn't coming out, if the line isn't protecting, then it just adds one more layer. So let's say Brock misses a read. I'm not saying how many he did or didn't. I'm not going to go into all that. But let's say he misses a read. He goes, oh, I should have gone. He goes back there. Well, that's that second hitch. And then all of a sudden, hey, Pooney's a little loose. Or McKibben says, if you'd thrown the ball on time, nobody would have even noticed the play. But he holds a little bit longer. The receiver busts a route, or it's a hot, and we miss the hot. Or and then there's the line. And then we had a play in the game where George released through the line of scrimmage and picked Jake Brendel, and a guy looped around him. The guy that Jake was supposed to block couldn't block him because George was between him and it just happens. It's football. There's a lot of that going on. Some was a product of the Vikings. They're a really good defensive front. They do an excellent job of prepping how to rush a quarterback and to get after you. And some of it was us. Some was the crowd noise. No excuses. We've got to do a better job. We've handled noise better. We've handled rush fronts like these guys better. We've been sharper, but we weren't sharp overall in the passing game. Starts and ends with the offensive line. We got to do a better job 100%. I'm glad you brought it up. And secondly, I do think it's always going to be a group effort. And I got chewed out once by the late, great Monty Kiffin when I was in Tampa, and I made that point. He said, hey, and Monty was always animated. Hey, he goes, hey, don't cop out like that. You got to take responsibility. I said, well, Monty, I'm just being honest. I'm like, it wasn't all us. I'm not. He goes, yeah, but you look like you're pointing the finger, and I'm not pointing the finger. So I want to make sure. God rest in peace, Monty. I'm not blaming anybody else. It's our fault. We got to do better. But it is a group effort. Everything has to come together. Can I tell one more story real quick? I'm sorry. We were here in 2015. It was an epic season. Jim Tom Sula's one season here, and we went in to do an offensive meeting, and we talked pass protections. And my assistant had never coached in the NFL. He goes, "Hey, Furry," he goes, "Man," he goes, "We're gonna have a good year pass pro, man. We're gonna do a good job." I said, "Dude, let's just wait till the next part of the meeting." Got the next part of the meeting. They talked about the routes. And it was the quarterback coach, the tight end coach, the receiver coach, running back coach, and nobody's fault. They'd never worked together. And so it was the most disjointed pass game. And I looked at Bro, I said, "Bro, we're giving up 50 sacks this year. There ain't no way. Doesn't matter how well we block them, it's going to take a long time to get this all tied together." And we were uncertain at quarterback, receiver. It was all over the board. And we weren't very good. We got fired at the end of the season as a result of it. We couldn't throw the football, and it's the way it goes. So there's just so many pieces to it. I've almost used up all my time. I can go now? No. All right. Here we go. Who's next?
This because you've been around a lot of great, legendary players, and so there's a lot of really great players on this team. There seems to be with a lot of them, they're kind of stressed and they're just maybe an anxiety, and it can come across as almost a lack of confidence, which is weird because they're really great, but tied to wanting to maintain the standard, staying elite. And I don't know if this is making any sense at all. I'm looking at your face, but is there any sort of common thread with the mindset of really great players and never being yeah, I kind of got this?
Really great players don't. Christian's unique. I mentioned Christian because I think Christian's a really great player. Christian operates at a high anxiety level. Okay, the other good ones, the great ones I've coached, they don't. They're not anxious. They're not uptight. Peyton Manning was uptight and anxious, but he was anxious about everything. His whole life was that he was very organized and manicured, very well kept that way. The great players I've been around are more like Trent, Jonathan Ogden. They were good at what they did. They were confident what they did. They get beat. I never forget when Trent got beat by Alden Smith one year in Washington. We were playing against the Niners, and Alden beat him. And he goes, "Alden Smith's a good player. He's gonna beat you." And no harm, no foul, right? Great corners, right? You have to have that mentality of, I get beat on a go ball. Yeah, okay, fine. You beat me once, you're not going to beat me again. The high anxiety guys aren't usually the very, very, very productive players. So it's just the opposite of what you're asking. There's that level of a great deal of confidence because they're good at what they do. They have a lot of belief in themselves. They've had a lot of reps to back all that. It's the guys that are trying to get to that level, and they're all different. Everybody kind of operates within their own percent, but I see it the opposite.
Perception of the play where Cashman kind of ricocheted off Trent and got the quarterback. They were playing some kind of a game up front. And
oh yeah. Oh.
What did you think of that play? Was there a miscommunication between Banks and Williams?
No, but it's Trent. Trent turned too quick and the guy ran a pick stunt. It's a very, very common thing that happens. It was a byproduct of what happened was we had a very similar protection earlier, and Trent set really good and did a good job on his guy, and there's another guy free, and it forced kind of the one where Purdy got sacked. He kind of just backed into it, and the whole thing kind of collapsed around him. There was that sack. There's still a lot to remember, but anyway, got kind of collapsed in around him. And so Trent was feeling like, I can't set his vertical because he felt like that was his problem. It wasn't. Purdy kind of ran into Trent. Well, the next time we got a third down, Trent said, I got to go set wider, and it's the exact thing you can't do when they run that pick game because Banks can't necessarily get his hands on the guy just by the angles and what it is. So Trent has to, I say, you have to protect yourself from that pick, and you have to, and it's harder when it comes from depth. You don't see it as quickly, and it did. It came, and Trent flipped his hips too soon, which we did the whole game. We did a lot of things too much that caused the problem. But it's like I said, I'm glad it happened week 2 and not week 12, and that's something to build on and happen. But that's 100%. That's on Trent. He's got to feel. He's got to see it. It's a good game by them. Pointing a finger and say Trent's got to see that, and Banks maybe could have helped, but I don't think Banks could have helped much on that one.
You just said about Christian. Shanahan said putting him in IR is a bit of protecting him from himself a little bit, so that he's sort of forced to rest. Was that difficult for him to do? Until he went on IR, not be out there.
Oh, it kills it all. I'm sorry.
Testing the Achilles.
Yeah, I think it kills every guy that can't practice. It really does. I think they want to be out there. They want to compete. They want to be able to contribute to the team. Standing on the sideline and watching, it kills them. I mean, it just does. And then you have to go through the process of getting better. And the great thing is, like I said, 17 games, and hopefully you can be good enough to play beyond that. You got to get yourself ready for the long haul. And if you're not ready, you got to do what it takes to get yourself ready. And hurrying back before you're ready, whatever the reasons, it's really difficult. It's hard for all the guys, and Christian in particular, because he's a guy that wants to be out there and wants to be working.
Necessarily involved in the pass game part of it, but with the tight ends in George's situation right now, what's your just kind of comfort level with Saubert and Tonjes if they have
I've always been a next guy up. This is the second you start worrying about a guy, and we don't have this guy, and this guy steps in, that guy goes and has the best game of the whole. I've had it before. We got 5 offensive linemen. All game day, a guy wakes up with a fever and he can't play, and you put the other guy in there and shoot, the 4 other guys play terrible. The one guy you were worried about has a game of a life. You just don't realize it. So you got to assume the other guys are there for a reason. They prep. They've done their job. Obviously, George Kittle's a great player. Whatever George's status is, I don't know what it's going to be playing, not playing. If the other guys have to step up a little bit more, a lot more, whatever it is, or maybe George is there all day. But the point of it is that I think those guys have all prepped to do it, and this is their opportunity. I think guys see it like that when all of a sudden, okay, this is my chance, this is my op, and when you get those ops, sometimes they really shine.
Chris, my perception is that Grendel might have struggled when I watched all 22. I might be wrong, but you have a lot of centers here. What you're obviously going with him. He's the starter. Why is he better than your other options at center?
Well, first of all, he had a better game than he did the first game. Everybody did for the most part. Hard to believe with the sack production and things like that. But we did take a step forward in a lot of ways. I think some of the bad plays stood out, and so that's it. Oh, he right now is he's a much better option. Quickness, intelligence, experience, one-on-one pass blocking ability to finish in the run game on the second level, his ability to snap off on double teams. I just listed off about 7 or 8 things there that are all he's better than Barch, he's better than Zakelj, he's better than Nugent, he's better than a lot of players as to why he was an alternate last year at the Pro Bowl level, because he does have a lot of those traits that do those things, and he's never perfect. There's like all of us, it's every year's different, and we got to work our way into this year and see. Maybe some of these issues that we've seen will stick around. Maybe they won't. We'll have to see.
Next man up. With Jordan Mason looking as good as he has through the first couple of weeks when you guys are running zone, for a younger player like Garendo, what are some of the challenges of just adapting to this scheme, and how can you as a coach kind of expedite that when you guys are forced to dole out carries that normally would go to Christian if he was healthy?
It's really hard. You just have to coach them, and you have to have the right kind of guys that can learn on the fly. They can watch other people and learn without taking the reps. He's doing some of the things, Mace had some problems early in when he was getting carries. One of the primary things in zone running is they want to take the ball and cut back too soon. It happened to all our guys in the game, and there's a reason we call it. You got to press the line of scrimmage. And when you're zone running, when you're double teaming on the line of scrimmage, the runner has to keep pressing the double teams to bring those second level defenders so you can zone to block them. If he cuts back too quick while we're double teaming, the linebacker just goes, oh, I'm going to go make the play, So you follow what I'm saying? So it's the runner's tied completely together with the line. And so if you don't press the line of scrimmage, or can't press the line of scrimmage because there's a whiff and somebody's in the backfield, immediately we can't block second-level defenders. And Isaac's run, he cut back entirely too quick. But sometimes you get the ball and you see this hole. You're like, I got to go. No, not yet. And it takes reps, patience to press the line of scrimmage and get to those holes. And eventually they do open up. But you have to have that patience. And that's hard to get, but you just have to, you have to watch it. You have to study it out here in practice. We have to do it. Bobby drills it in his drill work. But there's nothing like those live reps. But Mace was the same way. You can see their helmet stripe. When you watch the All-22, as soon as they get the ball, if they go like this, you're like, not if you're running outside zone. They're looking too soon. You got to press, and then that hole will appear. But if you see that helmet stripe go there, 9 times out of 10, they don't go press where they should, and all of a sudden we can't get second-level defenders blocked. Again, there's a lot to it. It's not as simple as that. If it were, I don't know what would happen, but it's not that simple. So, thanks, guys.